So why is it that we are so connected as a nation, as a race, as a society, but yet there's so much struggle, much, much more than we've ever seen, which is continuing to climb to exponential amounts of mental health struggle and emotional distress? It's simply because we're connected to the wrong things.
Yeah, superficial kind of like simple fix of things, like temporary fleeting moments of things. Yeah.
Yeah, we're caught up in like a veil of, because technology is ever advancing and ever expanding, and it's great, and it has its benefits, but we've become so much over reliant on it that the world of having the next best thing, the world of being connected through a screen, even being socially connected through screens and stuff, it's not a true heart-centered, sit down, deep, authentic connection to not even another person, but ourselves as well. And
Yeah.
we lost that connection because we are so lost in the craziness of how things have just sped up so significantly.
Mm. And like I just think as well, you know, it's kind of like an uncomfortability to sit with yourself. Like before I started any of my this journey I've been on, I guess, I couldn't sit with myself. I felt so uncomfortable sitting with myself. And even that time frame of like, I should be doing something. I need to get up. I need to be doing something. And I suppose people are just distracting themselves constantly.
Yeah, and that's so powerful. I was the exact same, Aoife. Sit with yourself. What are you talking about? You have to be doing something. It's this mentality that if you're doing nothing, like actually physically doing something, then you're not fulfilling that validation to be enough, to be doing, to be completing, to be succeeding. And therefore the ego jumps in and is like, a lot of people don't even realize this on a conscious level. It's all unconscious because they're feeling it in the body. It's like the urge, I can't sit here. It's like I have to be doing something. That's your body's way of speaking to you from a mind saying, what are you doing? You should be doing something. You're not doing something. You're not capable. You're not enough. You're not valued. So that sitting with self is a massive thing. And I think actually we definitely need to do a video on that next week, 100%. Like
Yeah.
that is huge, because that is gold dust when you actually master that skill, right?
And you have to learn it, don't you? It's not like it's not something that like you can naturally do. Well, people can, of course, but like you need to kind of like know how to sit with yourself with a process. It's not just about sitting with yourself, it's about sitting with yourself and tapping into yourself and listening to what comes up naturally
Here's
and
the real,
trying
here's the
hard.
here's the real test, right? Because I have had this from so many of my clients, right? It's like, oh yeah, I love being by myself. I love doing this and I love doing that. And I love like, and it's like, what are you actually doing when you're being by yourself? They're still distracting, but it's so much more subtly. So like sitting by yourself, true sitting by yourself is sitting in silence, no reading, no bird watching, no
Scrolling on your
drinking
phone.
a cup of tea, marrying yourself with a massage or oils. That's actually a subtle distraction from connecting with yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. And when you go through the process, that's a nice way in. Okay. But often people get a bit tricked by that. Like, yeah, I love being by myself. But what are you actually doing when you're by yourself? Are you actually able to sit in the energy of your body and your mind
And
without
connect.
being so discombobulated? Yeah, and connect to it. Be okay with it.
Mm.
Because if you can't do that, you're not really doing it with other people. And therefore, there's not true connection with other people. If you can't really connect with yourself, then the way that you're connecting with other people is going to be determined by your capacity to be able to connect with yourself. And we all think that connection with other people, like, I don't know, going for drinks, going for meals, going for walks, but are we truly connected to them?
Mm. Yeah. I see it in school. It's so funny. Like, I mean, the kids be on their phones and they're all on like Snapchat together and they'll stand in a circle around each other, all on their phones, chatting to each other through Snapchat, but not in person. And it just blows my mind. I'm kind of like, guys, like, can you not talk to each? And there's this real energy of discomfort, you
That's
know?
so scary.
Yeah, I know it's really scary, isn't it? But
That's
like,
the filter, right? We're all, well, I can't say, I can say I don't do it myself now, but prior to all my own personal journey, but like we're all living a life through a filter, through a mask, through
mm,
like a lie, through a pretense. And
mm,
it's like, but that's not our fault. It's the way we've been conditioned,
conditioned.
because we're all uniquely individual. And when we were born and we came into this world, our first job here was to be loved and to belong and to
Mm,
connect. And when we expressed our silly uniqueness, authenticity, and it didn't fit with the family or the tribe we were trying to connect with,
yeah,
it got rejected. And we felt like ourselves were being rejected and that
yeah,
people reject me. So, of course, you have to put up this false idea about who you are and live through that mask, live through those filters,
mm,
which actually, do you know what image is just coming to my mind there? It's like we're so disconnected from ourselves. It's like if I was to get your like limbs, your opposite limbs, like your two arms or even your arms and legs, and literally disconnected them, there would be so much pain and suffering.
mm,
And that's literally what's happening with our true self and our ego self, or the self that we've been taught into, conditioned into how to live, because we must be a certain way for other people. And it's pain that's causing all the emotional turmoil and the stress in life, right? It's
yeah.
like literally being pulled and severed and disconnected from the truth of who you are.
And it's an unconscious thing. Like, I mean, you know, when we were children, you know, you kind of told, don't do that, or don't say that, or be quiet now in front of the neighbors, or, you know, and a really innocent, um, kind of like, what would you call it? Not rule, or like a parent just kind of getting the child to toe the line. And it's a societal thing as well. It's like, oh, don't be making a show of me in public or whatever will be going through your mind. But that in itself was like quietening down a child's true natural self and their true natural behaviors.
Yeah.
And that over time, which we're all guilty of, we're all, you know, like we are all guilty of it. We don't even realize how that actually kind of slowly chips away at a child's true essence of who they are, like, and not, it's never intentional, but that's where it all begins, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the child, obviously, because we come here as a primal need to fit in, to belong.
Belonging.
And if when we express that and we're told, as Aoife said, like to be quiet, don't do that, do this, be that, and you're like, you're terrified to express your authentic self. So it goes dormant. You don't even know that you have an authentic self as an adult. That's the hardest thing, actually, I think, to realize. My life is in turmoil, things aren't working out. I've been promised this, that, and by society that once I get a job, once I get a family, everything's rosy in the garden. Everybody's waiting to get this family, get this house, get this, for everything to be rosy in the garden. But the only thing they actually really need to get is the connection with themselves, their true
Yeah,
selves, that part that is always been there and is
yeah,
waiting for you to rediscover.
yeah. Yeah, and it's you're always like, I mean, if you're waiting for the next level up and you're waiting for, like, if it's like, oh, when I get this I'll be happy, or when I do this I'll feel like I belong, or when I do X, Y, and Z, or have that relationship, or have that child, or have that, you get that, I'll have that connection. So we're kind of like, we're living in the future and completely disconnected, because if you're searching for the ideas out there, then you're over here, then you can't, like, it's not going to happen because you're already looking over there. We need to
Yeah.
stay within and go, kind of go, how do I get this now? How do I feel this now? It's not even about getting, it's about feeling and holding that space for ourselves now, in order to feel that connected and that sense of connecting and belonging. And if we don't connect and feel connected or belonging to ourselves, it just makes it so much harder to connect and belong externally to other people. And we can't, and we're making them responsible, which is like, it's taking away again from the true essence of who we are. Like, we can't make other people responsible for our connection and our feelings of belonging.
Yeah. And doesn't that just prove it, Aoife, that like if that method actually worked and it was our natural state, it was our essence, like waiting for the right partner or waiting for the right job, we're always waiting for something else to make us feel whole and complete. But when we get that one thing, it's on to the next thing. It's never ending. There is no fulfillment of satisfaction of self because you're looking, you've been taught to look in the wrong direction. You're living your life in the wrong structure. You're orientated in the wrong way. You're searching for something where it'll never be gotten. The fact that it's just a constant cycle that keeps on going just proves that there is no, what you're looking for cannot be attained by searching for the other person to give it to you, right? A lot of people get into relationships like that, right? To feel loved by another person, which actually we'll do our next video on love, because it's what is that love? Is it the love to be validated and to be whole and to feel belonging because it was absent in your time of learning your blueprint for the life? Or is it just true, raw, authentic love where there's no conditions, there's no like driven hidden agendas behind it?
Yeah, true love is unconditional love. It's a very hard one to play out
So we'll
in,
play it out in our next video.
in our next video. Yeah, we will.
Love,
Okay.
self-love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ching ching, my darling. What tea do you have tonight, this evening?
I have my Supreme matcha green organic bio.
Ooh,
You,
sounds
my love?
lovely. My chamomile, my usual dose.
Oh, yeah, I shouldn't really be drinking green tea so late in the evening, right? But
Yeah.
I'm giving up my coffee. Yeah, and green tea, for any of you that know, yes, it does have caffeine, but it also has theanine. I'm saying that wrong. It's not coming out of me. Anyway, it's a relaxant. It's one of the most powerful relaxants. So that's why green tea is always better than your coffee, particularly in the evening time. A
Till
little
next time, guys.
tip.